Hello everyone, Brother Yogi here, and I am now bringing you my Week 2 match versus the mighty Gliscor and his New York Gliscors. Um, uh, he is coming off his first week in which he lost 5-0 to Old Man Cup and his Pittsburgh Piratas, and we are coming off our first week win against the Washington Weebiles in 3-0. Here, if you didn't see the team builder, we're bringing a Mega Scizor, Assault Vest Tornadus Therian, Assault Vest Rotom Heat, Shed Shell Nidoking, Electrium Z Charge Beam Hydreigon, and Rocky Helmet Alola. And from his side, you can see that he brought Salazzle, Dugtrio, Primarina, Mega Aerodactyl, Xurkitree, and Kyurem Black. Right off of Team Preview, I'm assuming that Primarina is Choice Specs. The Xurkitree is either Choice Scarf or Tail Glow, and it's either Choice Scarf or Z Kyurem. And Mega Aerodactyl, of course, and then I'm assuming it is Trapping Dougie. Thankfully, I built my team to pretty much not care about being trapped. And I'm unsure about the Salazzle. Maybe it's Life Orb, maybe it's Scarf, maybe it is Specs, but he kind of brought the all-offense team that I was expecting in preview. So I think I've brought the appropriate team, and right away it looks like Alola is going to do a lot of work in this match. Just strictly off of the Mega Aerodactyl and the Kyurem Black and the Dugtrio coming and being able to take a hit from the Salazzle if I need to, or a water move from Choice Specs Primarina. And Protect could come in really handy eventually, which I went into on the team builder. It also looked like Mega Scizor, once I get the proper damage off on some of the mons, can set up and sweep with a Sword Stance if I need him to. So let's just jump right into the match. As I said in the team builder, I'm going to be leading with my Nidoking, and if he scares me out, he scares me out. I have the appropriate switch-ins. So we're going to jump right in. We see that he leads off with his Primarina. I lead off with Daddy Orb. I switch out right into my Tornadus, which is my designated Primarina threat, and he switches into his Salazzle here. I'm fine with taking a hit. He ends up going for a substitute as I go for a knockoff. My knockoff will break his substitute, and here I'm just perfectly fine staying and going for another one. We see that he is Life Orb with his Sludge Wave, does about 33%, and my knockoff, get rid of his Life Orb, I can take another hit very easily, so I'm fine with just staying in, and I end up going up for a U-turn just to kind of get that health back. And here I switch into my designated Mega Aerodactyl check with my Alola Mola is Rocky Helmet, so if he decides to attack me, I'm fine. Here I just send off a Scald because burning anything that comes in would be perfectly good. I could have Toxic'd there, but I didn't necessarily find a need. I didn't need to this early on. Here I find out that he is in fact Choice Specs Primarina. That's the only way he could do that much damage to my Tornadus with a Scald. It also turns out that he is modest from that damage. It was either a high roll from Timid or just kind of like a mid to low roll with modest, but he was in fact modest, which I find out from some later damage. I decided it's perfectly fine for me to just stay in right here. I go right for a Sludge Wave, I believe. Nope, I knock off. I knock off just because it would be very good to get rid of his Choice Specs. Because it really limits his damage output, and it would make it a lot easier for my Mega Scizor to come in a bit later in the match. Mega Aerodactyl, of course, can't knock off its item. I switch right into my Alola Mola as he makes a really good play, and it turns out he has Stealth Rocks on his Mega Aerodactyl. He decides to switch out into his Salazzle here. I send off Toxic. He's playing really well at this point. He's kind of making the right plays, but I still feel like I'm kind of in the driver's seat, at least just off of my team. Which he doesn't know at this point, but I'm assuming he knows that I was Assault Vest Tornadus with the way that I took the hits. But here I know I can take a Sludge Wave, and I can just fire off a Scald, kill the Salazzle, and I can see what he wants to bring in. So Alola Mola picks up the first kill of the match and its first kill of the season with a Scald on the Salazzle. He brings in his Primarina. I know he is Specs here, so I can just protect and scout out what he wants to go for. Turns out he goes for Moonblast. This allows me to switch into my Nidoking. I honestly thought I was going to take it a bit better than I did. I think I take about 50% from it. Yeah, I take 50% from that, but I do scare him out here with a Sludge Wave. I decided just to go for the Sludge Wave to get as much damage off on it as I could. I was perfectly fine sacking off my Nidoking here. I'm glad I didn't, because it could have turned into a problem with the Xurkitree later, but I'm glad I took that opportunity in order to stay in, because it did get some good damage off on the Kyurem, and it turns out from that damage, he's probably max HP with a semi-decent amount of SPDEF investment, so I'm not sure how much speed he actually has in this, so I possibly could have gotten another attack off or got my Stealth up, but at this point I wanted to save my Nidoking. I didn't want to sack it off to this. So I end up switching out. I switch into my Scizor because Scizor can take anything he wants to go for, even the Hidden Power Fire. Turns out he goes for Ice Beam. I don't see Life Orb, so I'm assuming he's either Scarf or Z. He switches right out. I'm able to Mega Evolve, and I just want to get back up to full, so I decide just to Roost here, and I can switch right out. Here, I think he's going to go for an electric move, so I go into my Nidoking. My Nidoking, as long as he has HP Fire, which I'm assuming he did have, he can't do that much damage to my Nidoking. I think he would do a max of like 34%, so I'm able to take a hit and outspeed him. If he's Scarf, he'd be able to outspeed me and kill me, but if he wasn't Scarf, I'd be able to Earth Power and kill him. So I figured this was the best switching I could do. He ends up going for Volt Switch on my Nidoking, which is perfect, and here he switches out. I'm assuming that's because he's Scarf at this point, and I just set up my Rocks. Rocks are really important in this match, which I went over in the Team Builder. And here I'm just able to go right into my Alola. I easily take an Aerial Ace and show that I'm Rocky Helmet. Here I'm just very safely, I can go for a Wish. He shows Roost on his Mega Aerodactyl, showing that he probably only has 2 attacking moves, an Aerial Ace and Stone Edge, which means that my Mega Scizor is pretty free on this Aerodactyl, although I'd still like to keep my Alola in against it primarily just because it's the safest play. So I'm able to just safely send off a Wish. I know he can't kill me with anything from 45%, so I send off a Toxic, I catch the Primarina, which is amazing because I can now protect, get another 12% off damage off on it, and I can scout to see what move he wants to go for. Turns out he's going for Moonblast. This is an easy switch into my Mega Scizor, and Mega Scizor has a pretty good matchup against anything he wants to switch into as well, other than the Xurkitree if he decides to pull a double. Here, he does not pull a double, he just goes right for the Moonblast. My Mega Scizor takes about 30% from that, really nice. And here I'm just able to roost off the damage as he switches into a Xurkitree because it's just the easiest way to make sure I'm at full, and I'm just trying to play very conservatively right now and keep my win conditions in check and make sure that I can check any of his mons I really need to. So here on the Xurkitree, I expect him to think that I'm going into my Nidoking, so I expect him to either Energy Ball or possibly Dazzling Gleam, thinking I'm going into my Hydreigon, or just Hidden Power, Fire, and or Ice, depending on which one he might have. But he actually makes a really good play and goes for Volt Switch as I go into my Rotom Heat, which is my designated Xurkitree check. The Volt Switch was a really good play, and he ends up going into his Kyurem. Here, based off of the damage of my Nidoking, I thought there was a chance that he was not faster than my Rotom because I have enough speed to outspeed a no investment Kyurem. But if he's Scarf with that amount of bulk, then there's nothing I could really do about it, and he would outspeed me. Here, I probably should have kept my Rotom alive. I very well could have. Mega Scizor was a very easy switch-in. Alola was also a pretty good one, considering I don't think he would have gone for a Fusion Bolt. But I just keep my Rotom in here, thinking I might be able to outspeed and kill him with an Overheat, but he outspeeds me, takes me out with the Dragon Claw. But that's a very easy switch now into my Alola. Knowing he'd take the damage from it, that would almost put him in range of Rocks. I figure he's going to switch out. I just set up a very easy Wish, and I'm able to protect now and make sure that he won't be able to kill me with anything on his next attack. He shows the Scald on his Primarina, which means that I can easily take another one, so I can easily take that, and I can set up a Wish. I don't easily, quote-unquote, take it. I take about 56% from it, which just shows how strong Primarina is, but I'm able to live it and get the Wish up, which means that I can really tank anything that the next one wants to come into, or I can protect and get that Wish back. I decide to protect here. I'm assuming he is Scarf on some level, either Scarf or Z, like I've been saying. Now that I'm back up at 95%, I know that I take about 50% from a Fusion Bolt, so I'm perfectly fine just staying in here and going for another Wish. I'm really playing conservatively, but I'm keeping my win conditions in check, and I really want to keep my Alola healthy. Here he Earthquakes, I just go for a Scald. He's not doing very much. I didn't even count the damage because I knew I took a bunch of them. Here I probably should have gone for another Wish, expecting something else, but I just go for a Toxic, thinking that Xurkitree or the Mega Aerodactyl was going to come in, but he actually brought in the Kyurem, sacked it off to the Rocks, giving Nidoking a kill, or I'm not sure how the rules work, whether Nidoking or Alola get it, but one of the two. And here he brings in his Xurkitree. Based off of him switching out on my Nidoking last time, I'm assuming he is Scarf Circuitry and not set up. But even if he is set up, I do still have my Nidoking, so I could sack off. Right now, my most expendable member would be my Tornadus, so I could sack off Tornadus in order to get into my Nidoking and either force him to switch out or kill him. He shows Energy Ball, he doesn't set up, so I'm still assuming under the impression that he's Scarf. So I go into my Hydreigon, I can easily take an Energy Ball from this, and I can now set up a sub if I need to. I decide to set up a sub on his switch into the Dugtrio. The Dugtrio can't really hit me unless he has Reversal. He hasn't shown it yet, but he might have it. Here I decide just to Roost, and he shows the Reversal, so he does have a good way to hit my Hydreigon. So Roost, and I'm just going to switch out of there. I can go right into my Alola. It's the easiest play, just because I get Rocky Helmet damage off on it, and I can take any hit. He decides to Earthquake, as I continue to wish and just make sure my Alola stays at good health. And here I Toxic, just in case you want to switch in something else, possibly the Xurkitree or the Mega Aerodactyl. And he uses Reversal, kills himself with Rocky Helmet, and I just get up a Wish, because that was 100% the play that I was going to keep doing. Here he goes into a Xurkitree. I'm able to just protect, scout what he wants to go for. Turns out he's going for a Volt Switch. I get my Wish back, and he makes a good play to double into his Mega Aerodactyl here, assuming I'm going to go into Nidoking. I do go into Nidoking. Right now, I don't need to predict anything. I can just play very straightforward and know that I pretty much have the match set. On the Mega Aerodactyl, I can just switch right back into my Alola. I have no trouble just doing that. I take 31% from a Stone Edge. He decides to just Stone Edge again as I set up a Wish. And here is where I kind of make a play. I assume he's either going to Stone Edge or Aerial Ace or Roost, or he might switch into his Xurkitree. I decide to set up the Wish and go into my Mega Scizor here because I know I can take one Scarf HP Fire from the Xurkitree, and once I take that, I can Bug Bite him. He's in range to where my Bug Bite would take him out, and I could kill the Mega Aerodactyl with the following Bullet Punch, barring he doesn't crit me with his Xurkitree's HP Fire. So I just go right into my Mega Scizor as he Aerial Aces here. Brings me down to 53%, but from the Wish I get all of that health back, and I'm able to just, I can stay in. I just decide to click Bug Bite and predict the Xurkitree to come in. I could have Swords Dance, but a +2 Bullet Punch was only doing 46% max to a no investment Xurkitree. So I decided my best play was to just go for the Bug Bite, because I knew the Mega Aerodactyl had already shown me his full moveset, so I knew he couldn't touch me very well. He probably could have done about 40 to 50% with the Stone Edge. But that's something I could have roosted off, and he was probably fearing Bullet Punch, and his best win con at this point was the Mega Aerodactyl, plus he had to kind of play around them both really well and make sure that the Xurkitree is able to take out my Alola. But here I just Bug Bite. I take out the Xurkitree from 53%. It was a 56% min, and here I can just Bullet Punch and clean take out the Aerodactyl for a solid 5-0 win in Week 2. Your Amherst Accelgors are now 2-0 with a +8 differential, and next week we face off against Old Man Tup and his Pittsburgh Piratas, so watch out for that match. Go check out my opponent's side of the match. I'm looking forward to watching it myself, and give him a like, show him some love over there, and thank you very much for checking out my side of the video. Have a great day.